Hi blokes and blokettes, Dave here, and today we're going to talk about how to use a handheld remote control for a mini split heat pump. And this may be useful to you if you've recently got one of these, or even if you have a whole house system that does heating and cooling. Your thermostat is instead on the wall. Some of the same functions will be applicable to that as this is your thermostat for a mini split. Almost all mini splits now have just a handheld remote control. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, it's set to 19 degrees. What does that even mean? Well, it's in Celsius. I'm a good American. I don't want to multiply by 9/5 and add 32 to try and get my head wrapped around what the temperature is in Fahrenheit. I'd rather just have it inherently be in Fahrenheit. And so in this case, on the back of it, there are instructions of how to change to Fahrenheit. You hold this up and down for 3 seconds, change it to 67 degrees. Oh, that's a little bit cold. And on the display here, it still says 19 degrees. And how do I get that to match? Just turn it up. Turn up to more reasonable heating temperatures, 78 degrees, so now they're both matched. I come home, I'm a little bit chilly, I want heat, I put it on, in this unit I can touch this heat button. A couple things I don't like about either touching the heat or cool button, it kind of limits the control you have, this auto mode. You'll see that there's an arrow, 3 arrows around the fan speed, and so the fan is on automatic. It also, you'll see that there are icons of the electric heating strip. And thankfully, this unit does not have that electric heating, that same type of electric heating. This is a heat pump, so it takes heat from the outside to the inside. So even if it's 2 degrees outside, you might say, oh, there's no heat outside when there's 2 degrees. It's all relative. That's actually 3 times around more efficient to bring that heat from the outside than to use resistive heating, like on a space heater or whatever. Basically, the resistive heat strip, if you have that mode in your unit, you pull up the cover, there's going to be one more layer of coil in there, and that's for the resistive heater. And I wouldn't recommend that even if you have it, unless your heat pump is an older unit, doesn't go down to a warm enough temperature. Okay? But so we turn that E-heat off. Next, we'll go to hit the mode button here. Oh, so I can override that automatic fan if I touch the fan. So now I have it. I probably would, for heating, I probably would recommend the heat on one of these lower settings. Why? Because you don't want a lot of airflow over your skin if you're cold, right? Same way in the summertime, you do want it. That's how a fan works. It changes the state of the water. For instance, your sweat beads on your arms or legs or whatever, the fan's hitting them, that water is evaporating, and that in effect is an open loop air conditioner. It's changing state to a gas, and you feel cold, which is opposite of what you want in the wintertime. So keep your fan mode probably on a lower setting. Okay, so you see there's a sun icon at the top here, and that means heating. Now way to the left, there are those 3 arrows. That means automatic mode. And this one, I'm not really a fan of, because let's say it's set to 78 degrees. Well, with auto mode, there's a dead band between 72 degrees and 84 degrees. And to me, that's too wide. I either want to feel cold or feel warm, or feel comfortable by having air conditioning, or feel comfortable by having heating. I don't want this wide swath of a dead band, right? But if you're leaving for the day, it may be appropriate for pets and plants to have that wide of a dead band. It will save energy using the auto mode. Okay, next is cooling. By the way, every time it changes here from cooling to heating, it takes around 5 minutes for the compressor to change, because you're changing the direction of the flow of the refrigerant. So give it a second, say, oh, I had it, why isn't the air conditioning coming on? Well, you haven't given it that 5 minutes to change the direction of the flow of the air conditioning. It's also protective mode for the electronics in the unit, etc. So give it a minute if you're putting it in cool mode. Next mode here it's similar to cool, but it's dehumidification. And what that is, how that works is let's say it's summer and it's 75 degrees in the space, which here in Las Vegas, that's probably almost too cold, but comfortable, right? But if it's 75 degrees and 80% humidity, you want that, it's called latent heat. It's the water in the air. You want to get that water out of the air. And so the way that this dehumidification mode works, you'll see the fan speed, it's on the slowest speed. You can't have the fan speed on a fast speed and dehumidification mode. Why? Because the air needs to rest, needs to spend some time on that cooling coil in here to be able to get the water out of the air. And so yeah, the water will drain out of the air. You're probably going to be comfortable, but it doesn't release as many, there's not as many BTUs in that mode as there is in the air conditioning mode. But if you're maybe too cold in a space in the summertime, maybe this unit's too big for your room, try doing it in the dehumidification mode, because that may be perfect for you. Next is just the fan mode. And here the fan, maybe it's coming on higher. And in this mode, it's just like a $50 fan you buy at Lowe's or whatever. You plug it in, and it works the same way as a traditional fan does. The compressor is off, and so the only cooling there again is when the refrigerant on your skin, that being the sweat, is changing state from a liquid to a gas. But the advantage of this mode, it only takes around 14 watts of power to run that fan. So the fan in this inverter compressor unit also has brushless DC fans, super efficient fan. 14 watts is a lot more efficient than running the compressor if you don't need the air conditioning or heating. Okay, then we're back to the heating mode. A couple of these other buttons on here. This is louvers to go up and down, and this one does not have that. Sorry, left and right. This is the left and right one. This one does not have that. So instead, you have to do this manually. Hopefully you can get through this Herculean task to change the airflow. Personally, I don't like using louvers either up and down or left and right. This unit does have an up and down one. And so the louver goes up and down, or it will here eventually. The reason I don't like that, I want to, if I'm sitting down, I want to feel comfortable in my space. I don't want air to come on, come off, up and down. But if again, for a whole house, it may be good to distribute the air better in the room, and so both those could be handy. And this one on the bottom, this unit also doesn't have it, but it restricts the airflow to only come out a certain area, which I think would be useful if you want to channel all your BTUs at one spot, or if you want to spread them out further. This button does that. Okay, we talked about turbo, we talked about e-heat, talked about fan. The timer, see how it's on 1 hour blinking, 2 hours, oops, 1 hour, so it's set at 1 hour. But if I want to increase increase from 1 hour, I hit the temperature button, and what that does, the timer will have the unit turn off after 2 or 3 hours or whatever. Marginally useful for sometimes maybe. Now, a lot of these units, including the Airspool unit here, has an app, and you can have it shut on, come off whenever you want it to from anywhere in the world using the app. But in a pinch, again, this may be useful to you. The SE here, that you see the little icon right there with the lightning bolt over it. That is pretty useful in that it takes a lot less electricity. It runs the compressor at its slowest speed. And if this were in your bedroom, say, and during the day you want the air to go all over the house, but at nighttime you can possibly just have it on this energy saving mode. Compressor runs at around 400 watts, especially good for off-gridders that don't want to wear down their batteries, but also if you're, in California or some high energy state, even at night where it's 35 cents a kilowatt hour, you might want to push the SE button here and have the compressor run at a slower speed. Again, fewer BTUs at that speed, but maybe that's enough BTUs to make you feel comfortable. Okay, the sleep button here, touch that. You see the moon icon. After 1 hour, let's say that you have the temperature set to 75 degrees and air conditioning. After 1 hour, it will bump that up to 77 degrees. And after 2 hours, 79 degrees, and it'll stay there until you make any change on the unit. And again, if I want it 75 degrees, I want it 75 degrees. But I think the idea behind this is once you're asleep, maybe you're not going to notice the change in temperature as much. And yeah, it will save energy a little bit. It does the same thing in reverse and heating mode, where it will go to 73 degrees and 71 degrees by 2 degrees in heating mode. And then finally, the light button here. See how this is going on and off here? If you're trying to sleep and you find this light annoying, that'd be a time to turn it off, or else I don't know why you'd want to turn that off. Anyway, here at Airspool, we talk about air conditioning and heating. We talk about solar. We talk about solar air conditioning. If you have an interest, subscribe to our channel. Thanks for your time.